Good morning.
Good morning.
Here we are, 2018, January.
Seriously, where did the 2000s go? Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Here we are.
All right, so here we are.
You're so excited about this topic.
I am. And the fact that we're on social media and here we are talking about, are you better than a click? The reason why we feel so compelled to share this message is there's a lot of chatter in the beauty industry right now. Are we starting over?
Sorry, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
A little technical.
That's me communicating with Brian.
All right.
Sorry.
Not too much of a distraction.
No, sorry.
All right. So there's a lot of chatter in the industry right now. And I think the chatter has reached a level where it's almost a distraction about where e-commerce is relative to the salon business and professional salon products. And so in this title, Are You Better Than a Click? I want to start by asking some questions. And the first question is, if we were to go back before there was e-commerce and say, what is it that we're about? What are we about as a salon? What do we stand for? Why do we have products that are available for sale? Who do we align ourselves with? And why is that important?
Mm-hmm.
We go all the way back to 1983, before Al Gore invented the internet, and that's a little funny.
That's funny.
But
okay.
If we go back there, PSC was all about, and we believed all along that salons, as we moved forward, would align themselves with brands, manufacturers, distributors, and educators from whom they could learn the most. A lot of the product offering is not only because it's brilliant for our salon guests, but it's also a lifeline to education, information, and growth for your salon. So if we protect that, you fast forward now to e-commerce and the fact that some of those very same products are available through alternate channels that are almost unstoppable. It's almost unstoppable for somebody to pop up and offer products for sale. And if we look at it and say, okay, I've had many salons and many hairdressers say, I can't compete with that. Or they said, I can't compete with Amazon. You know what? Yeah, you can. Your mission hasn't changed one bit. Not one bit. Who you align yourself with is what matters. What you receive from that relationship is what matters. And I believe that we are and always have been in a connection business and a relationship business. And if we lose track of that, we can lose. But my biggest worry about
why can we lose?
Well, if we're not focusing on relationships, we're not focusing on connection, if we're not giving our guests regular opportunities to connect with us and support us, and we're not talking about where we're going and bring them along with us with the enthusiasm and excitement, we're allowing somebody else to come in there and just service them in a commodity fashion.
Well, if people don't understand or feel the difference between going to a salon and dealing with a live person versus looking something up online where they have no contact.
Yeah.
If there's no difference, I mean, goodness gracious, Amazon would love what? Nothing more than what?
Salons just to give up and let them have all the business.
And they would also love to have 45 minutes with a...
Oh, well, I mean, and we're trying to frame this so that everyone can relate and come along. We've thought about this and we've been talking about it for a very long time. I believe that if Amazon had the chance to have 45 minutes of undivided time with their buyers in person, they would trade that in a heartbeat. That's something that we have that comes day one with our license. So we've got to make sure that we're living up to that and we are choosing to do that. Let's look at some industries where people became optional. I think in the banking industry, people became optional, almost obsolete. For the retail consumer banking, banks have tried everything. They bring little bank units into Walmarts, into grocery stores. They're set up all over with drive-throughs. They're doing everything that they can to keep their bank out in front of people. But the reality is, it's better to not have to do business with people. A lot of times, even closing on a home mortgage now is done all digitally and electronically. No people necessary. And that's an issue. That's saying that digital is better than people. And I don't believe that, especially in our industry. Digital is not better than people.
Well, I was thinking yesterday, we watched Mayberry at the Andy Griffith Show because we love it. I mean,
You and your mom
my
especially.
mom, yeah. And in the show, they referred to it as a service station.
Yeah.
Service.
Long time since
Right.
it's been a service station.
Then it went to a gas station, and then it went to self-serve.
Yeah.
Right?
And self-serve, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a service station, a true service station, where they pump the gas for you. They have mechanics on hand to be able to change your oil, change tires, do all those things. It's kind of the last place you'd think of
That's right.
to go get that done today. So is there a risk? Think about all the fast food places when they put the pop machines out and you can fill your own pop. And we look at that as a benefit because we can get through the line faster. We can have our free refills and all those types of things. In our business, we are, again, a personal business. My biggest worry about e-commerce is that it serves as a distraction for you as a salon
It
owner
also serves as an excuse.
and for your staff, for your team. If we're distracted by it, the distraction of e-commerce would kill us long before the actuality of e-commerce. E-commerce serves commodity products. We have to remember that. It serves commodity products. It says, if I buy a Clorox bleach from Jewel Osco, from Mariano's, from the various grocery stores, Target sells it. You think of all the different places, 7-Eleven sells Clorox bleach, all of those places. So all of a sudden now, it becomes the same except for price and convenience. Everyone has their little marketing piece, why people go to 7-Eleven or why they go to Jewel and shop there, or why they would go on Amazon and purchase Clorox bleach from there. When there's nothing added to the product from a person, people will make a choice that suits them. They're buying at Amazon anyway. And Amazon is going to continue to do what Amazon does best. They're going to make it easier, faster, in some cases less expensive. But with that said, I also want to explain why Amazon is playing a role with some of our own products. They're able to, first of all, eliminate gray market third-party resellers and protect the suggested retail price of the product. So it takes out the gray marketers, it takes out a lot of the diversion market, and it establishes our suggested retail price, which protects hairdressers and it protects the salons. So that's done on that side. Now we've got to do what's necessary on our side. So we're very much, think about this, are you better than a click? That's all we have to be, is better than a click. If it becomes better for me to click and buy my products for take home, then I honestly believe shame on us, because you are better than a click.
Well, the next question that we put down is, how can a relationship business or a good service provider fear this if they've left this in place? They shouldn't have to fear it because they can ask for the support, they can ask for the loyalty, they can say what the sales of those products do to enhance the experience. So the fear makes sense if you don't have this, or if you haven't locked it in, or you don't protect it. It makes sense. But then it becomes an excuse versus an action.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to, the beautiful thing that big companies can't do is they can't be small businesses anymore. Small business is beautiful and it can react and be reactive rather quickly. They can be more creative, more relatable. And it's proven that many people trust small business and the service that they can get from small business and medium companies. So how do we use this to our advantage? This is just some things we wanted to put in there.
The thing I think that's important on small business, American Express has done a brilliant job, occasionally I think quarterly, to say Small Business Saturday, I think is what they do, where they celebrate small business. We should be celebrating small business
Every day.
Daily. We should make it a big point. That should be something. Just like the it matters phraseology is important to be evident in your take-home area. We need to have our staffs know why it matters that they buy salon quality products from you and your salon. We also need to tell not only the small business story, but the local business story, because you're employing local people. You provide tax revenues, you provide employment, you provide service for your community, the local community where your guests are coming from. That's a story that's worth telling.
Absolutely.
I mean, remember, as much as we hear, I think right now there's 2 of the 4 main giants that are talking about doing corporate headquarters, additional corporate headquarters in the Chicago area. Well, you know what? And so what if it means X number of jobs? The reality is a lot of tax revenues being given away in order to lure them here, if in fact they do come. You're the one that pays that tax revenue every single week, every single month, every single year. And small business, not big business, small business still employs the lion's share of American income and American workforce.
So how do we use this to our advantage? Well, you know, there's something that is always said to salons, especially when they're going through difficult times, is I've lost some staff. How am I going to replace them? How am I going to recreate my salon again? And the thing that we're always talking about is another salon or wherever people go, they're still not going to be able to replace the business that was created on the forefront. We're calling that your DNA. There's only one of your salon and only your DNA in that salon. And I love that, because how do we go out and make sure that we've personalized our DNA to the community, that no one else can duplicate it because it's ours? They might do some of the same things that we do, but it's still our DNA. And our DNA is usually made up of people. So how they can't duplicate the owner, they can't duplicate the people. They might duplicate some services, but that's not something to be feared. We've got other companies that do what we do. I don't worry about that, because they can't duplicate this. They can't duplicate what our team is doing. They certainly can't duplicate our intentions, right?
Sure. And when you think about DNA, I mean, I love that. And certainly we are unique. 2 things I want you to think about that. First of all, everyone from the time the product is manufactured all the way until it winds up in the guest's hands, everyone that touches the product exists to add value. So whatever that brand is, whether it's Paul Mitchell, whether it's Davines, whether it's Z1 Concept and Milkshake, whether it's Ruzel, everyone that touches that product exists to add value to it. That's how we earn our margin.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that makes that money along the way, we make it because we add value. We add value because our intentions are to add value. The manufacturer who provides the products intends for the distributor, the consultant, the salon owner, the stylist, to all add value as that product moves from them to the ultimate consumer. And so thinking about how we do that, and more importantly, why we do that, is critically important. And when Terry and I were talking about DNA and what makes it unique, you know, I said there's a very simple thing about DNA too. It's an acronym that says, did not ask. And why I think about that is that 7 out of 10 people say that they're still not asked to buy product to take home during their salon visit.
Well, they don't even participate in a conversation on product performance.
Yeah.
It's just used.
Yeah, and so that's huge. So part of our indifference comes from not asking. So how do we add our DNA to this and make sure that we do? I just think that if we take care of, and the next slide says protect your DNA, absolutely.
Well, and we also say, you know, do not ask. Silence is the enemy of success. You cannot be a business that people don't understand what your offerings are or what your commitments are. So what are your assets right now? And when we look at the assets that we've got, some of them are self-explanatory to a way. Let's come back to assets after we talk about the others. Your customers are your asset. They're coming to you. They make up your DNA. This is the mix of guests that you're servicing. Your people on your team are an absolute asset. And having the right mix and protecting that at all costs is very important. Your service is an asset. Big companies they don't care about the experience. They really don't care if they lose a few customers. They're trying to go with the masses and just be a source of convenience, but they don't talk about being a source of an experience and a way to connect the brand with them emotionally and relationship-wise. Your product mix, that's part of your DNA. And really what's really big about your DNA is your knowledge of every square inch of your business and every hour of talent, meaning you know the people you're putting in front of to showcase every man hour and operation hour evaluated. You're looking at ways, or should be looking at ways that makes that business tick and opportunities to make it even tick faster. So when you look at your assets, you're looking to do improvements in these areas, but what makes your customers unique? Who are you drawing upon? Your people unique? What kind of staff are you most able to coach up? And then when you're thinking about the experience and your product, how are you creating enhancements in those for this year and the coming years? You know, the proof of your DNA, you know, when you think about this, the experience of the guest is the priority. Everything you do should be about, I mean, we've done classes in the past about, does it make the boat go faster? Does it make the experience better? The guest wants an experience in your business. And when we look at, still most of the education is being done and rallied around technical skills. The technical skills are the vehicle to create an experience and build a relationship. So if we didn't cut hair, or we didn't do skin services or nails or waxing and color services, no one would stop by just to chat with us. But the experience is the priority so we can deliver our technical skills. That's why they're the vehicle. We have to find unique ways to celebrate those technical skills so they transcend in the guest's mind that the experience was unbelievable. We also personalize the experience any way we can with formulas or certain things that they like. That's why we're going to talk about the CRM in just a moment. And being the expert, I can't tell you how many people still hide behind the fact that they don't know the ingredients yet, or they don't use that product because they have their favorites. You don't have that luxury not to be an expert of the brand you represent. And you have to be able to test and defend everything. So if a guest says, why this, or why this, we don't say we're not sure. We're able to stand up and fight and rally for the product that we have in our salon. And then the beautiful thing about the proof of creating experiences is doing rich product teasers, not just samples, but teasers. I think about going into Sam's Club. They do a better job teasing the audience than salons do. We put up a note that says tester, and we think that's enough to tease them that they're going to touch it. But at Sam's Club, they put an individual there saying, do you want to try the baked brie? Well, of course I do. First of all, I'm starving. But other than that, you're making it look good. And you're talking about why it's so wonderful. And then trailers about the future. We just bring a product out today. There it is, new product. But we don't make a big deal about our product and that we're excited about, and it's going to fill a need that we wanted to do this.
That was very loud.
That was so loud, it scared me almost. The Java jacket came down.
So here's
what do you
just
think
some
about
of this week's examples with that. I mean, I bought flavored marshmallows this week at Sam's Club because they were making a big deal out of it, because they had it on a sample station. They had them cut up. They had somebody there standing there talking about them.
Who was with you?
Emma.
Well, of course, that's why you bought it.
But here's an amazing thing. I had a friend who had a business based around, I think it was called Sweetness in Australia, and her business was flavored marshmallows. And I know that experience at Sweetness in Australia was completely different than my experience of buying a flavored marshmallow at Sam's Club. And I'm sure the price was much different there than at Sam's Club.
Well, they were specialized there. Here it was in bulk.
Yeah. And so it's easy to see when we leave our business. I met this week again, and we did a Matters CD years ago where we talked about Starbucks and their coffee master, that they have a coffee master on location, certified in product knowledge, certified in the various coffees, their origin, why they're different, what characteristics they have. And so I was getting my normal morning coffee, and I saw the person at the window, and she was wearing a Coffee Master. So I revisited that conversation, and I said, you know what, I want to come in one day and just talk to you about Coffee Master and what that means and what you go through to do that. And I really think, do we have a brand master in our salon? Is there someone? Do we have a long hair master? Do we have a color master? How can we do that? Because
they want us to be the expert.
Absolutely. Well, they think we are. Not only do they want us to be the master, they think we are.
So if they think we are and we're not
making noise,
we're not making noise, then what are we doing? And that is the craziest thing. That's why I think about Bobbi Brown, the makeup artist. Would she ever sit there and not absolutely talk about her product and walk around displaying and enjoying it? And we don't do that enough.
You know what? And I think it is. Have you ever been on vacation or been on a business trip and walked into someone else's salon, someone else who does what you do in the business?
And you think, boring.
And all of a sudden you see everything.
Oh yeah.
Because you're looking at it with fresh eyes for the first time. When's the last time we really walked into our own businesses and looked at it with fresh eyes as if it was for the first time? Because guests are doing that every day.
Well, and how many times have we been away when we walked into a salon and we had more energy than the salon did? They don't know who we are. And we walk in and we're helping them create a relationship. It's their job to create it.
But see, the whole point is that same thing is happening back
right
home
here
in our own salon.
That's right. It's right. And you know what? Even here, PSC, I'm constantly, and I say it to you too, are you looking up when you're walking through to see how many points of contact you can make?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first person that usually says hello to somebody else.
Me too.
And you have to really work on it or walk into the space. I'm not just going to go and get a cup of coffee. I better make some touches on my way. And it's a lost art. It's not natural for most people. It's really difficult. We're going to go into that in just a second. So, service tools. And wow, here is a whole thing you can be thinking about in the salon. And something I want to think about over and over again for myself and our teams. Skillful eyes. What do they see? Do they have the scanning factor that you talk about a lot? Do we know when a guest needs us? Are we showing that we're available to people all the time? Skillful ears, listening for opportunities to please, listening to opportunities to lean into a guest, saying, can I answer any questions for you? Versus, you need anything? Looking at the skillful heart. What is the purpose of that salon? What are we trying to do? How are we connecting with people? Skillful words. Our dialogue has to match our commitment to serve. And our skillful actions. How do we even walk the business? Are we walking to enhance it, or are we just walking to go take a break? And then, of course, it's the skillful hands, the service itself. But all of these, you can see and recognize these weaknesses. Go to a restaurant. That's usually what we all have in common, is dining out somewhere, and look for all of these. And you'll see that they've got some, but you'll see that sometimes they might be able to see that your plate is dirty, but they don't look in your eyes. They're looking at the plate. You've got to look at these things to see what you can do to be of service. Result. Connection. Wow. I mean, it comes naturally to few, and this must be developed. I mean, when you're trying to talk about connection and the next one is build relationships, this isn't natural. I still give the example all the time of we were speaking at the Paul Mitchell event in Vegas, and Paul Mitchell either claps you in or greets you into a general session. And I think there were 2,500 people that day, and I was right next to John Paul and you. And we were shaking and welcoming people into
shaking hands.
Shaking hands. Now we were shaking. We were shaking hands and greeting and extending a welcome. And the amount of people, it was alarming. That's the first thing we said to each other when we were done, is the amount of people that couldn't look in our eyes or look back. and create energy versus just do the action of shaking hands versus creating a connection. Very few could say, I'm so glad you're here. Or we would say, welcome, I'm glad you're here. Oh, we're so glad to be here. And sometimes they did it better in teams than they did it individually. But it must be developed. Some people just don't have that confidence to look in someone's eyes and to really make a difference. You know, like some people are peekers, or some people hide and wait till someone finds them. We don't have that luxury in this business. We've got to be the one that extends ourselves first.
Yeah, without a doubt, and it is a challenge. It's a challenge right now, and I know you must be experiencing this in your salons as well, because not all are naturals. I know from being in the schools, I see it all the time, because I am constantly, when I'm walking, I'm making eye contact and talking with people, and the amount of time that they will look away or not be able to speak.
Or glance at you.
And I think, okay, how are you going to do that in a salon?
Oh.
Because you're going to meet person after person after person.
And then it doesn't matter if you have skillful hands.
Right, and they never get to use them.
You never get to use them. It's a waste. You've got to work on all of these other things to create that experience, or you're not better than a click.
Exactly.
Right?
And you get things like right now, one of the things that we're working with is there's two parts of a school experience. One is the knowledge base, the theoretical base. The other is the physical side of the business, which involves muscle memory and body position and all of those things. But then there's another one, which is the people side, the ability to communicate. Well, what's interesting in the school is we have people, and it comes and goes in waves. We have people right now who are in the habit of refusing a guest. And why I say that is I'm wondering, how do those same people, when they graduate, how do they refuse a guest when they're in your employ?
Well, and I was telling Steve, you know, I can remember the first time I had to learn a phone script. And I can remember my trainer or my boss at the time standing next to me and said, okay, answer the phone. I thought, I'd rather die than answer this phone call right now. First of all, you're going to critique it and whatever. And I thought, no, you take the phone. So if I was like that just with a phone call, it was probably going to be 20 seconds long. Until you have the confidence. Then, you know, pretty soon after 100 calls, you can do 5 calls at a time in front of your boss, and it wouldn't be alarming at all. But if I'm going to do that for 15 seconds, what's it going to be like to have someone watch me for 2.5 hours? And I think they're not taking guests because of fear of failure, fear of confidence, fear of doing it wrong, and really not knowing what to talk about, because people are losing their ability to chat. And you've got to build solid relationships. There's a lot of effort involved in building relationships. Once again, we put down, it comes naturally to few and must be developed. But how much time are we spending on this? If you said to your staff, we're going to do a meeting on Monday, a class on Monday, 2.5 hours on just building relationships, they would think they all are really good at it. If you said, we're going to come in and learn a new color technique, they'll run in. We're putting our emphasis on the technical side so much, but where we're losing is here. Mm-hmm. Absolutely losing here. And I go back to that one young lady that we were in Hawaii having dinner, and this girl was amazing waitress as far as timing. She was amazing at hearing that her food was up. She got the food out hot. She knew everything that was happening on the table. She never looked at us one time. Never once did she make connection with us. Never did her heart or her service or her thank yous and her speed. You never wanted for anything. Your glass was full, your tea was full, your coffee was full, your plate was clean, everything. But she never made a connection. That's what's amazing to me. Mm-hmm. And that no one caught that, because she was probably the fastest one. You've got people in your salons that might be the fastest ones, but they're not building relationships and creating loyalty. So why is a CRM so important? And it's customer relations management, the CRM. And most of you have software systems that will provide history on the customer? Are we using it to personalize our experiences? I like when I'm online, let's say I'm ordering something, and when I order, the click says, the click, and you may like this.
Yeah, or others who have purchased this also purchased this.
Couldn't we say those same things? Right? Could we say, hair like yours, often people like this mix of products? We could say that. This is when we're not better than a click. A click is already doing it without any human intervention except for programming. They're already trying to prepare the guests for more, and we're not doing that.
Well, and I think the important thing is they're doing what's available to them, because what they are is they're data mining.
Right.
They're taking,
I don't know what
and
that means, but that's
well, they're connecting data.
Okay.
What they have is data.
So do we.
But what we have is person.
Yes, but the data can complement the person.
But the person is to, just what you said, to personalize. It's not others have bought, in our case. I mean, as an individual, you can use that as your reference.
Yes, reference
mentally,
only.
But you are prescribing, you are using the fact that you have your hands in their hair. You know what their needs are. And our professional responsibility is to recommend products that they need to take home and use on a daily basis in order to recreate what you've done and keep their hair in maximum great condition.
But I want to know what we're doing with the relationship history.
Well, in some cases, I wonder, are we even, probably the number one question that you hear in salons is do you need any product today? Or do you need any shampoo today? Well, guess what? We should know before they ever sit in our chair. And what I mean by that is if they purchased shampoo before, we know how long shampoo lasts. We use shampoo personally every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know how fast I go through shampoo. So if they bought a 10-ounce bottle of shampoo 6 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, I know in advance that they need to repurchase it again, or they just plain didn't like it. They put it aside and they're not using it. That's an opportunity to communicate with them and find out, is it misuse? Did they just not care for something about it? How can I fix that for you? How can I make that better? Because what we want is a long-term relationship with that guest. We want to be able to, I mean, think about it. The products that you're recommending for a guest is keeping that fabric, keeping their hair in the right condition for all the things that you have planned for it from a service standpoint. If someone's hair isn't in optimal condition, you're really not going to get the great results you want from hair color. You're really not going to get the great results in texture. You're not going to get the great finished result that you want. There's a reason why we add our knowledge and these products, these ingredients to their hair for an end result. Mm-hmm. We've got to be the experts. So knowing the history, absolutely. What have they bought? What haven't they bought? And if somebody's just buying shampoo, I'm going to suggest that they're probably bought shampoo just to get beyond the moment with you, thinking no matter what, I can use up this shampoo. But if they're buying shampoo and conditioner and styling products, they're taking your recommendation. And that's ultimately what we want. Because what Terry pointed out, if you bought this, you may like this, they're choosing, and everybody's using conditioners and styling products. If they're only buying shampoo from you, or if they're only buying hairspray from you, they're using somebody else's shampoo and conditioner and styling products. We have to not celebrate the small win as much as be dedicated to what we're about. Mm-hmm. We want to be their best relationship for all things beauty and hair care. And we have that opportunity. The only thing that stands in the way is our apathy or our just absolutely not being willing to have conversation with people and not using the data that we do have.
Well, I told you. I mean, first of all, having a 13-year-old doesn't rank up there on my top 10 items in life. But when I say to her,
yes, it does.
Well, it doesn't. So when I say to her, gosh, I'm tired. Same. Mm-hmm. But she's down to one-word answers. Same. No. Yep. And it drives me crazy. I can't stand when someone doesn't talk. You've got to be able to communicate. That's proof of a relationship. But she can get on the phone and click away her words. Well, that's not gonna strengthen her in life. And we're battling something bigger than I think any of us even realize. I wouldn't even want to have a baby today. I don't even know what 13 years from now is going to look like. Are they just going to go, "Marr," and then that's how they communicate, and you just think it comes out the other side in someone else's phone or someone else's hat they're wearing? I don't know. It scares me half to death. But how often do we have to say, "Look at me. I'm talking to you. How are you?" Gosh, I wish our customers would say that to some of the hairdressers. "Look at me. Prescribe to me. Talk to me. Don't just do the basics."
That's where, just again, inspiration. Leaders, remember that your team is not tired of hearing your vision. They're not tired of hearing it. You might be tired of saying it, but they're not tired of hearing it. And it's up to you to be the keeper of that vision. That's what's going to inspire people. Bring them along. Bring them along. Keep bringing them along. Terry says, go back and get them.
Go back and get them.
Go back and get that team and bring them along, because what we're doing is important stuff. It might not be important to everybody, but it's important to us, and it's important to you, and it's important to those people that you touch and serve in your community.
Absolutely, it is. I'm in a toot right now. I'm all
Wound up.
all wound up. Okay, big versus small. What are the advantages again? I mean, some people say, "Oh, we don't have time." You've got to make time. Your time frame has to say, we are dedicated to this. Small teams can move so fast and accomplish so much so quickly. But what are you working on? What are you working on to get there? And the people that have things they're working on that take, "Oh, we're going to do that. We're going to get to that. We're going to do that." They never get to it. They say it, but they don't accomplish anything on the other side. So let's personalize this thing. So it's our job to remember that our brand, our number one brand, is our salon. That's our brand. You listeners, is your brand is your salon, not the brands you represent. Your brand is your salon, and the brands that you choose complement your brand.
Oh yeah, I mean, they can be every bit a part of it.
Oh sure.
That fabric can be mixed together. You wouldn't be the brand you are in some cases without the relationships you've built and the brands that you represent.
Right.
But what I think about too is how much do we have a brand statement? One of the gurus of branding says that a brand is what it's what your brand connotes in the mind of the customer. It doesn't matter what it is in your mind, it matters what it is in the minds of your customer. And so that doesn't happen by accident.
Well, and I remember that exercise we were at. I think we've done this in other e-learnings when they said, "Okay, how many laundry detergents out there?" The first one everyone said, Tide. Tide was first. And then they went on and said other ones. But after you got to 4 of them, you really kind of struggled. Gain, Draft. And then he said, most people can only have 4 shelves, 4 brands on the shelf.
4 brands on the shelf.
Right?
Shelf of the mind.
Shelf of the mind. So what we're asking is, if people say, what are the salons in your area? Are you one of the 4? Are you on the minds of the customer because you've done a good job connecting with them, right?
And I think more important, chances are you are when it comes to salon. But if somebody asks, what's your favorite business? What's your favorite place to spend money in your area? Or who's your favorite to spend money with? I wonder if we're on the shelf of the mind for that. I wonder if we're one of the 4.
Good question. So we're going to personalize our brand to make sure we're unique. We're going to personalize our relationships. And we realize that the human touch is something our business allows us to do. No, they're not going to do that at Target. God bless them. Come in, would you like a shampoo, before you shop and buy things you don't need. Okay. So experience will be noticed and applauded. Even when we went to that one theater, which we should go again, we got to eat during the movie. They said, we'll take your order and then we'll bring it out to you during the movie. And Here's your blanket, pillow. We thought, seriously? We wanted to move in. Remember that? It was fabulous. So social media, some people think, oh, if we're not on social media, we're going to lose. No, no, no. Social media is not to compete. It's to explain. You want to be able to explain your business, not to compete with other businesses. You want to be in the minds of the customers and personalize what you do.
Sure.
Good?
Sure. And also, again, realize that just like we go to social media and we check our feed, which is what's coming down as we're going through, when are you jumping into the feed in people's minds? And how are you doing that? And are you doing that on purpose? And so there's an awful lot that can be done.
But it's not more important than the experience.
Well, it's a product of the experience.
Good.
That's the only way that you jump in to the feed that's in their mind.
So what people want is jaw-dropping products and services. Jaw-dropping. Are you jaw-dropping? And delivered by caring experts that they can build a relationship and where they can feel important. All right? I mean, this is what should hang up in every back room or every station. I mean, you look at it and you think, okay, what are the jaw-dropping products and services? If I still ask people, what are your house specialties in the salon? You know, they all look around. Well, I don't know, we cut. They don't even know how to answer that. And what are you known for? They don't know how to answer these questions. So if someone says, should I come to your salon? They don't have the jaw-dropping speech to attract anyone, right?
Yeah.
That's key. And if you're going to make a difference, you better sound like it in how you speak. All right. So Lighthouse Identity. I saw this yesterday. So many people just want to be good inside their four walls, but in small business, you have a responsibility to shine so the whole island can see you. What are you doing to make noise, or how are you shining that light on the whole community so they're aware of your presence? Last thing you want to hear is, oh, I didn't know there was a salon there, or I didn't know that, or who are you connecting with in the community? And there's so many things that are usually going on in the community that you can lean into. Who's doing the research to say what's next in the community that we can ride the shirt tails of and help and assist? Because usually a salon would be, because most of those activities are geared towards women, so how can salons not benefit from that? All right, and here's me. This is Terry Cowan's slide. Slow down to move faster, because I tend to zoom. You know, sometimes when we let the dog in, he just starts zooming all over the house. So that we don't even know what he wants, right? Zoom, zoom, shoot, shoot. He shoots behind the sofa. He comes back out. What do you want? I don't think he has any idea he's moving so fast. He's just running. All right. Well, sometimes I move so fast in my mind that I move too fast that it doesn't get accomplished. So slow down to move fast. And that's where you really have to protect that timeline that you're putting in front of the customers. And sometimes we say, oh, we didn't do anything for February. We better throw something on the calendar right now. No, slow down to move fast. Plan it out. Make sure you have things in place. And it's time for you to get your people in alignment of what you're trying to accomplish for the entire year. We did an improv. We brought all of our educators in, and we did an improv. And my goodness, I loved the whole day. I enjoyed having the educators in with this improv instructor. And one of the exercises that we did that's really stood out to me is, he said, when people want to create energy, you have to do it in a way that is attractive and want people to keep thinking and dreaming with you about the future. So we did this exercise. And so I want to do it with Steve right now, or just talk about it with Steve. And then I want you to judge where you're at. We had to do an exercise where he said, okay, everyone get in groups of 5, and we did. And he said, now you're going to pretend like your group is taking kids on a summer camp. So what can you do on the summer camp? And just start shooting ideas out. But while you're shooting these ideas out, everyone in the group goes, no. So we said, We can take them to the zoo.
No, stinky,
Yeah.
hot.
We can, well, why don't we do a picnic? No, the flood.
No, gosh, all the wind and everything. It never works out.
Okay.
Picnics are good ideas, but
Well, do you have any ideas? Do you have
No.
anything? No. So the energy in the room went from, ha ha ha, this is funny, down to their first reaction on everything was no. Then we did the exercise again. And we said, all right, we're going to say, yeah, we could do that, but, okay, we're going to go on the same field trip. Hey, we can rent some buses and take them downtown to the museums.
yes, but that would cost a lot of money.
Okay. We could take them to the pool. How about going to splash station or something?
Yes, but who's going to watch all those? Who's going to watch the kids? There's too many of them.
Okay, we could, how about go and take them to a movie because it's so hot out? We could go see a movie.
Yes, but have you seen the price of popcorn lately?
Okay, so everything, first one was no, then it was yeah, but, and the energy was still like, you know, screw this. I'm done even giving an idea. I hate everybody. Then we went to the last one, and the last one was yes, and. Yes, and. So we can go to the park. Why don't we take them, maybe we go to a movie.
Yes, and after that, you know, the kids love to walk around the mall and get some.
That's a great idea. Why don't, and then the next day, maybe we have the second day, we take them on a scavenger hunt in the parks.
Yes, and then once we're done with the scavenger hunt, we could have a great day.
Okay, so I want to know, and I had to think about me, and I had to think about Steve, and I had to think about our PSC team and people I work closely with. Is their first response no, or yeah, but, or yes, and you really realize that, number one, if you're responsible for energy, yes, and go somewhere really quick, really fast. I mean, the noise in the room just skyrocketed. And you can't let the experience hurt your ability to be creative, meaning we tried that before. We can't do that again. And people become, yeah, we tried that, but it didn't work. Remember, they even give you proof. Remember when that one lady came in and she fell down? And so everyone shoots down the ability to grow. We also talk about that as parents. I'm telling you, my first reaction usually on everything is no. They want to build a tent. No, gosh darn it, don't do the tent, don't do the fort. Because number one, I don't want the mess. I don't want 10 blankets and sheets brought out, and then I'll be the one that has to clean it up. And he said, you know what, I realized I'm a no father. I've got to start being a yes and father. And he gave the example where he was driving home from somewhere, and he just wanted to get home. And his kid said, what's that over there? It looks like a fire. And his first reaction is, yeah, it's probably a fire. And they said, can we follow it? What was his first reaction going to be? No, we just want to get home. And then he said, yeah, let's follow it and see where it takes us. And maybe we'll see the fire trucks. And so he did that. And he said, you know, the further he drove, the further away it became, you know. It was funny, but I'm really trying to catch I suck at this. I'm getting an F grade right now on this, but it's really got my mind thinking about what's my reaction as a leader, what's my reaction as a parent, and how am I going to get the rest of our team get into the yes and mode.
Yes, and I can't wait until you get better at this.
So how are we going to be a builder? We are a builder. You know, in sales we say we're a hunter or we're a farmer, right? Farmers just keep replanting what they've already done. Hunters are looking for the kill and to create more business, right? In small business and these kind of things, we're a builder. We got to be a builder of the brand, the service, the product, and builder of the people, service, and product. We got to be a builder. What does a builder have? Blueprints. What does the builder have? Supplies. What does the builder have? The time frame. What's the builder have? Right?
Well, the other thing is you know, when you think about hunter and farmer, a hunter, if they don't hunt, they don't eat today. And so there's an urgency about their thought. It's what am I doing today to make sure I eat today? Is that important in the salon business? Absolutely. What are you doing to feed today in your business? What are you going to do today before 5 o'clock that's going to make a difference in your brand and your service and your product?
Well, some people think,
And
I'm
then-
a hunter. I posted that I have an opening at 2:30 and 4:30.
And okay, that's,
Is that enough?
you probably catch a cold, but the fact is, it's not any one day, it's consistency over time. You're not a hunter for one day. It's not, that's how we think of it today as a sport maybe, but as a hunter in the true sense of being a hunter, take care of today. A farmer does things today knowing they're going to need to eat or provide for their family in the months ahead. They have to do all of the things today to make that future date happen.
And they already have food in the pantry.
So in every business, you've got to have somebody who's, what are we doing today to make things happen? And then you've also got to have a team of people that's taking care of the people who are in the business today. It's just, it's both sides of that are important and need attention.
Huge.
Right.
So what are the blueprints? Right? I mean, even if we built our house again, we would move some things around. Right? Once you look at it, you go, oh, I would have done this different. I would have done this different. What I love about a builder and small business, maybe you can't move things around in the facility, but you can move things around in the business. I love that. We don't have to have 5,000 meetings. I can't meeting to death.
The other thing is blueprint equals finished product. Don't like the finished product, it's exactly what the blueprint was. So if you don't like what you've got to get back in there and change something. You're the architect of that blueprint.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Ooh,
Heavy.
that's heavy.
Yes, and I've got more.
So let's talk about these last three because we're having some fun with this. And on Monday in our breakfast meeting, our beauty business brunch, we're going to be going more into all of this.
We're going a lot into this, I hope.
Good.
We are having fun with this. It's basically, if you've been with Terry and I, you know that there's a couple of themes that run pretty strong through what our values and beliefs are. One is the theme of it matters. And it matters who you hang with. It matters who you associate your business with. It matters that you choose the right people to surround yourself with, that you're always working on your business. It matters that you have a timeline. So all of that happens. Now, we also believe, I personally believe, why is it that in life we settle for moments? Why do we have people that write songs about, I've waited a lifetime for a moment like this? Why should you wait a lifetime for a moment? We have moments every day. We have moments that matter every day. We need to be able to learn to put moments together into minutes and minutes together into hours and hours to days and days to weeks, etc. Why don't we have an extraordinary life as a result of the moments that fill that life? And so this study that we're doing right now was on a book written by Chip and Dan Heath. And brothers, love them, Heath brothers. And they talk about the power of moments as it relates to life and as it relates to business, and that we all have key moments, defining moments in our life. That moment, maybe it's that moment you decided to be a hairdresser. Maybe it's that moment you decided to be a barber. Maybe it's that moment that you decided to be a business owner, be a small business owner. Maybe it's that time that when you chose your mate, your spouse in life. Maybe it's that moment that you had with one of your children where you knew that moment made a difference. We have all of those opportunities for moments that happen naturally, and then sometimes we take them for granted. And there's really good examples that happen. What happens on a first day? Someone joins your salon, their first day experience. What is that? I mean, that's a defining moment in their life, in your business. How do we celebrate that? What's special about that day? What could be more special? If we were just going to brainstorm on how do we make that day an extraordinary day that really speaks of our brand, that speaks of who we are and what we want to become with them, critically important. What about the day that they receive their first guest in the salon, or they complete their first guest in a salon? What about the day that they sell their first bottle of take home? What about the day that they have there's milestone moments? What about the day where they have their first $1,000 week, then $1,000 day, and so on and so on? A friend of ours celebrates because their people have been with them over time, and because they celebrate those things. They started early on celebrating lifetime dollar amounts that person did in the salon. And I look, and they've got $1 million milestones that they absolutely celebrate. They've got 2 million, they've got 3 million. It starts all the way down at I think 500,000. And so what are those things that we could celebrate? What are those moments that we need to pay attention to? What are the moments that matter in a guest's life in your business? What should we be celebrating with them? Do we celebrate when they've been coming back to us for a year? Do we celebrate after their first visit? How are we making sure that we are?
Well, let's give some examples, because I just completed the book Monday. No, last week. Has it been a week already?
I don't think so.
Okay. So anyway, I completed it. He loved it, and I started on it. And there's one example that really stuck for me, and it's a school in, where was it? A charter school, right?
Which school example did you give? There were several.
T-shirts and confetti and their signing day.
Well, it was their acceptance letter. So if any of you have had children that are already at a college age, it's taking that moment when the college, university, cosmetology school, we all send out acceptance letters. We've received your application and you have been accepted.
So is this paper all that they're going to get to celebrate, and the family's responsible for the rest?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what they did at this one location, and we're going to be incorporating into our schools, and we're going to figure out ways to bring that into our distributorship too, is what?
Is when that acceptance letter goes out, to make a big deal out of it, to also have a school t-shirt that we send along with that in their size, to have a little container of confetti to celebrate the fact that they were accepted, a instruction sheet on how to put the t-shirt on. I mean, put the t-shirt on, use the confetti, put it on Snapchat, and let your friends know that you've been accepted to Paul Mitchell School Chicago. That's a whole lot different
Than just a piece of paper.
Than just mailing a letter that may never get opened.
That's right. So that's powerful. Brian, where are we at? Any questions or comments? Good. That was a good topic. I enjoyed that very much. We're going to be doing more of the power of moments, probably incorporate that a little bit in every single e-learning that we're doing this year. 2018, it's already January, and it's January 19th, and our tree's still up, right? We're going to be getting it down soon.
Hopefully this weekend.
Oh, really? By the time we take it down, it'll be time to put it back up again. That's how fast it's moving. How are you prepared for the growth in your business? And how are you preparing yourself to be better than a click? I hope that we've created insight for you and thought-provoking ways to make a difference. So you're not competing, you're just getting better at getting better. Yeah.
And remember, you definitely are better than a click. Always have been, always will be. Make sure that message goes all the way through your salon.
See you next month.
Great success.
Thank
Thanks.
you.